The S&P 500 daily cloud chart shows the lagging line and the close for current price at 4467.44, and the baseline 26 bars back concerning this lagging line is still at 4496.06, and that gap zone is still available to hit with a low of this candle at 4496.01. That's the top of the gap zone. Next up, lines, and as suspected, this ongoing demand line was disqualified even though it opened lower than the demand line and the close was lower than that ongoing demand line. The steepness of the line, I suspected a disqualification, and it happened. It probably would have needed to stay completely below that line all day, so it needed to open below the line and not tick higher than the line and close below the line. So if it would have stayed under there, it would have been qualified. But as it stands now, it's disqualified. And now there's another situation on the supply line, which for today is at 4463.60. And if it opens above the supply line, closes above the supply line, but ticks lower than the supply line for during the day, that would probably become disqualified too. And price in the pre-market hours for the S&P 500 at 5:41 a.m. Central Time on the 14th is 44.85. So that will be the same situation as this ongoing supply line. And if it opens, closes, and stays above that, it might become qualified, but it could become disqualified. And you can see the choke point here we're closing prices at. So the next ones are this ongoing supply line, which for today is at 4520.43, and this ongoing demand line, which is at 4409.07 for the 14th. So that's the next set up. And then if that happens, the same thing, where they become disqualified, then there's these two, the ongoing supply line at 4603.98, and this ongoing demand line at 4339.74. So let's see what happens at these two here. And the top one coincides with the top of the cloud at 4511.92 for the cloud. And then this one again is at 4520.43. So again, as it stands now in the pre-market hours, the price for the S&P is at 44.85. And the conversion line is at 45.86. So as it stands at this time in the morning, pre-market hours, price is above the 21 EMA signal line in solid blue, and also in solid blue is the 20 simple moving average, and the 50 exponential moving average is right underneath the 20 simple moving average at 4443.09. And this faint red 35 EMA is at 4474.23. And then right above that is the 50 simple moving average at 4480.57. So the 35 is still under the 50, and the 20 simple moving average is still under the 35. So we need to get that 20 back above the 35, and then we're on our way up, I would say. and the ATM trigger pressure up is planing out and not going above the oversold 25 yet, and the fast trigger is still under the oversold 25, and the slow trigger is not doing much either. It's still on a slight downward trajectory, and it needs to get back up above the overbought line. If not, then all three of these will probably meet down here under oversold eventually, unless the fast trigger can make a move to the upside first. This will be the first one to make the move. And the 50% disqualified momentum down did not become qualified and confirmed. It blew it right off the bat because the close on the 12th, 44.61.90, and then the open on the 13th, 44.62.65. So that ended that right then and there. It has another chance today to start the process over by becoming qualified with a close under 44.67.44 for end of day on the 14th. And there was the price flip to the sell setup 1 count, negating the buy setup count 5 from this bar here, so that's a good sign. But to go back the other way for end of day today, if there's a close below 44.57.49, we'll get the price flip back to the buy setup count 1. And the zigzag pattern is still strongly to the downside after its swing point here at the D wave, down wave 2. So that is a bit concerning. As for the next 3 days, the D wave, down wave 3 will print on a tick lower than this low. So then after the 4th day onwards, the bar gets raised. So then this low, etc. So if this sideways chop continues towards this Kumo twist over here, cloud twist, then we could be out of the woods and printing the D wave, down wave 3 down here. But for a while, I believe that this zigzag pattern will be following the D wave downs here, because it's not going to change to the up wave like it did here until it surpasses this high over here. So below this 20 EMA in solid blue and the Ichimoku base line here, there's a lot of levels. So price did get above a lot of resistance levels that could become pretty good support, and they start at S1 at 44.54, the pivot point at 44.67, the daily horizontal line from 08/06/2021 at 44.45, the bottom of the potential uptrend channel 44.44, pitchfork 3 44.62, the weekly diamond bottom line 2 44.62. So break out above the cloud here, and the top of this gap zone 44.96.01, and then above that is that ongoing supply line that we saw, and then the Bollinger Band upper band and Stark Band upper band are right there together, just about 45.25 and 45.29, and then the channel 3 high is at 45.52.